Our next guest is a prolific filmmaker and screenwriter who just won the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best Director for his epic action drama film RRR, which is currently streaming on Netflix. Let's take a look. Please welcome to the show, S.S. Rajamouli. Welcome to the show, S.S. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
The same thing happened to me watching that clip again that happened to me the first time I saw this movie, which is at some point I realized my face hurt because without knowing it, I was just grinning ear to ear because I had never seen anything like this film. And my only regret is that I watched it at home. I watched it on Netflix. And I heard you speak about what one of your films is like on an opening weekend in India. Can you just talk about what the crowds are like when they see a movie like this?
What we just heard now, into 100x. Basically the fans will be tearing up newspapers all through the night, making huge bags of confetti, and they come to the theater, and the moment the actor's name is displayed or the actor comes in or they anticipate their favorite star is coming onto the screen, all the confetti will be thrown into the air. You won't see the picture. And they will be laughing and shouting so loudly you can't hear the sound. The projector operator, who is not supposed to meddle with the sound, he will be increasing the dB of the sound, but still you can't hear anything.
It must be amazing. And I assume that that is your goal, right? Like, it is so, again, the audacity in this film, the things I saw in this movie that I've seen so many action films. There were 5, 6 different set pieces that went beyond my wildest imagination of what you could accomplish. That must be the goal you set out to achieve, which is just to shock and delight people.
Absolutely. The initial thing which I talked about, the confetti and all that stuff, happens for almost all the star films in the beginning. What I want to achieve is that happening even after the 10th day or the 11th day or happening it outside my country in US. Not the confetti part, but the the enjoying part. And like you said, I want my audience to be astonished and really thrilled about that astonishment.
This is sort of a historical epic, excuse me. It takes place in 1920. We saw a couple of freedom fighters there. It's a wonderful friendship story. And, you know, it's about them revolting against British rule. Was this an idea you always had in your head to do something like this?
Not always, but I had an idea of, always had an idea of doing a multi-starrer, not just bringing the stars together, but bringing two heroes together. Right from my childhood, I had these ideas of whenever I read stories, different stories, I like bringing those heroes together and making up some scenes with them. Sometimes I also be in that scene in my head. I always like to do that. And when I saw Inglourious Basterds, and in the theater scene when Hitler was suddenly shot with the machine gun, I thought, wow, this is really wow. I mean, we know Hitler didn't die that way, but it's fiction. You know, it's a fictional movie, and you can take liberties with that. And yeah, putting those two things together is the start of RRR.
will admit I had never seen either of your stars before, and yet the first time either of them came on screen, I knew that is a gigantic movie star. And I have to assume I'm right about that.
Yes, they are. They're big stars.
Were they, I mean, they're the most charismatic, fun-to-watch pair I've seen in a movie in so long. Were they both on board with this idea of, oh, we can do this film with SS where we team up and it's sort of a two-hander as opposed to just one star?
I worked with them before, and we had successes, big successes. And apart from our professional relationship, we have a personal friendship. And they too are friends outside their professional area. So when I wanted to do this multi-starrer, what I did was, I knew if I call one of those, he will call the other person before I can call him. So what I did was I just called each of them and I said, why don't you come out to my place? They didn't have an idea of why I was calling them. So they just came over and they were surprised to see the other in my place. And I said, okay, guys, I took them to my balcony and said, okay, guys, I have this idea, and I'm putting this to you both at the same time. I want to do a multi-starrer with you. Are you up for it? I didn't tell them the story. I didn't tell them what I'm going to make, because I also didn't have a clear-cut idea of what I was doing at that point of time. And yeah, it is a nice coup, and it worked.
Oh, well done. Can you tell us about the title RRR? Is that something you had from the beginning, and what those R's stand for?
No, that's funny. No, that's not the title we had in mind. And when we announced that all three of us are going to work together, we had to give out some name to refer to the picture. So we took the first letters of our names. Rajamouli, Ramarao, Ramcharan, and we just put hashtag RRR. It was just a name to refer to the picture, not the actual title. But the fans thought it was the title. They loved the title. The distributors of our films loved the title. They said, this is the title. And so we didn't know what to do and said, okay, guys, RRR can't be the title. So we have many languages in India. The film is dubbed into 5 languages in India itself. So we put a competition for the audiences, for the fans, saying that you expand the title. So we have that title for each region, for each language, but the common title will stay as RRR.
You obviously are a really established director. You've had nothing but success. I would assume we've never had quite this response from the West. What has it been like? You know, I saw you win this award for Best Director here in New York, and obviously I saw footage from people responding with great fanfare as they saw it in theaters in the States. Has this been exciting as this has become sort of a worldwide phenomenon?
Exciting is an understatement. It is, I mean, we are on the top of the world. I essentially make films for Indians in India and across the globe. But when we started getting appreciation from the West, our initial thought was, these guys must be the friends of our Indians who went to watch the film. Then as it started increasing, when celebrities, story writers, film directors, so many people started tweeting about it, talking about it, the film on the social media. They started championing for the film by word of mouth. We thought, okay, this is growing much more. Then it released on Netflix, and it was on the top 10 for 15 consecutive weeks. It released in Japan. It's still running in Japan. It is the highest grossing Indian film ever in Japan. Oh my God.
I should note a couple of Golden Globe nominations as well.
Yes,
You've got that.
Yes.
And, you know, it is, I feel it gets so hard to see something that you've never seen before, and that is how I felt through the entirety of your film. It is just such a joy to have you here. Congratulations with everything. It's so well deserved. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. SS Rajamouli, everybody. RRR is currently streaming on Netflix. We'll be right back with more Late Night.